See, now I would only put one in.
Oh, right. Because that way I can hear you.
Yeah. Oh, see, there he is. Okay, so
Oh my
he's going to
gosh.
record it for us. So have you ever heard of the mystery spot?
No, what is the mystery spot?
Okay, so it's this strange place in Santa Cruz, California. I think there are 2 or 3 of them throughout the world. There's 2 in the United States. But for whatever reason, the magnetic field is completely different in this area. And cell phones don't work, radio doesn't work, nothing works.
Oh my gosh.
The way it's supposed to. And of course, I'm sure there's some physics behind it. They try to explain to you. But there's a lot of mysterious things that have happened in these areas. A lot of alien sightings, Sasquatch, those kinds of things. But there's, when you go to Santa Cruz, there's this house. And it's standing on the hill, and it's like this. I mean, it's completely diagonal. But it's standing still. And it doesn't move. It's been there forever. And you go into this house, and you stand on a board that's level. And you and I could stand there, and let's say you're 6 feet and I'm 5'3".
Okay.
And you and I will look the exact same height.
Okay.
Even though it's level.
Right. That'd be
and
weird.
You take there's a board that looks like this, it goes up at an angle, and you take a ball and you drop it here, and it rolls up.
Did you? And you've done
I've
this?
seen it. I've
Oh
seen
my
it. It's the
gosh.
most fascinating thing I think I've ever seen.
That is
I have
weird.
not seen a lot of paranormal events or anything like that, but it is the most fascinating thing I've ever seen. And I think that, we were talking about just recently, before we started recording, we were talking about New Zealand and volcanic areas. They have
Tectonic
more
activity.
tectonic activity and that kind of thing. And I think that there's a lot of places in the world where, whether it's a magnetic thing or there's energy. I think anywhere there's energy, there tends to be...
Well, there's the deal is just exactly like what you're talking about. I think it's maybe in Lake Whitney, but it's a famous hill where people can put their car on it and put it in neutral, and the car will go uphill. And this is the exact same lake where a lot of times they think they see UFOs and stuff coming in and out of it.
I'm telling you, I think that, there's something to be said about energy. And I think that all beings are attracted to it, especially when there's different energy or stronger energy. I think that people are naturally...
And water seems to have a lot to do with it a lot of times.
You think so? See, I haven't heard anything about water in particular.
Because if you think about it, a lot of these big outdoor concerts and stuff like that, they're always, or, even around, the big event centers around Austin, they're usually right near the lake
It's
or
true.
the Colorado River. So somehow they've learned that there's actually power in the river itself.
Well, I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is. That makes sense. I mean, water is one of the basic elements of life.
Right.
And if anything, in the future, the one thing that's going to be the biggest commodity is water, right?
Well, there's the idea that these, like NFL, big, professional sports centers and stuff like that, or these are somehow, some ceremonial event centers that they're somehow, gathering all these energies. Because, those people, they spend thousands of dollars to go there, and they're just sitting there, just cheering their, heads off.
That's really interesting. I've never even thought about that. One of the things I actually was thinking about while we were interviewing our last guest, when you were talking about the orbs as well, being visited by orbs. I have a very close friend of mine that has had several experiences, and his friends have had experiences with orbs, but it's not a pleasant experience. He can remember several times where he had this overwhelming sense of sadness and anxiety, and all of a sudden he opened his eyes and there's this orb. And he had talked to several other friends, and he has a theory that there are certain beings, probably maybe from different dimensions, that kind of thing, that they actually feed on the energy of other people. And some of the strongest energy is anxiety, sadness, depression, anger. So it's easier, and they will come to you and evoke those emotions in order to get them out of you.
Yeah, they put that wall of fear on you, or that
Right.
wall of shame, or that wall of, self, hate or whatever.
Right,
These
right.
negative emotions, so that they can just suck off all your juice.
Yeah. So I think it's really fascinating that, people tend to have these very strong reactions to to these events. It's not kind of this, oh, it was fine, it was whatever, it's very strong, whether it's...
They have a strong reaction to what?
To the presence of these orbs. And so I think whether it's good energy or bad energy, I wonder if that's what they're coming to you for.
Well, I mean, I don't know, but I've talked to a lot of these people, and I'm not doubting that they see the orbs, but these are more like, and some of their friends tells them that it's specks of dust, or they're seeing stuff in their camera, and I'm not saying that they're not seeing orbs, but that's just not the same thing as what's out there at Ghostlight Road. I mean, this is a big thing the size of a baseball,
It's the size of a baseball.
It changes sizes. And
does it move directionally up, or does it stay in one spot?
No, if you chase it, if you go after it, it will then run away.
Really?
And then if you run away from it, it will chase you.
So do you think it's playing games with you, or does
Yes, for sure it's playing games with you. And sometimes they'll even surround you. There'll be one in front and one in back. And these are usually white, orange, or yellow.
Okay.
But then they have ones that are going back and forth in this forest that are red sometimes, but also blue. I've never seen a green one.
Okay. So what do you think they are?
Well, I didn't know what they were, but I finally, and some people think, especially once I see what, with the photography equipment I had, I've seen the entities, what they look like inside, which is just spellbinding.
What did it look like?
They look like basically E.T. What we've been shown E.T. looks like our entire life. We can watch one of the videos right now.
Wow.
You want to watch it?
Yeah, let's watch it.
All right.
All right, you want to...
Let's end this call.
Yeah, you want to end the call?
No, let's just leave it on. it probably won't mess anything up.
Probably might. That's pretty interesting, guys. Like, and then you go in to play the video. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting. It's an interesting.
With all of that
setup.
blah blah blah, you maybe can find some sort of little.
Can you hear that?
Edit it,
Yeah.
but
With all. Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
Whoa.
See, I'm getting scared and she's not because I'm looking at it through $4,000 worth of digital equipment.
What can you see, Laura?
Oh my God! It is. It's like a perfect round.
But look inside. Do you see the faces, the little insectoid faces in there?
Yes.
What the?
Nancy, roll up the window. It's,
Can Nancy not see it?
baby, it's putting a light on us. Okay,
So.
Nancy, how close are
Do
we
you
going to
wanna
let it get?
Okay. So, but what I'm wondering is, while this is happening, can she not see it because she's not using the equipment?
Oh no, she can see it,
But it doesn't seem.
but she's not seeing those entities inside of it.
Okay, got you.
She's using her naked eye.
And
Okay.
we were both looking at it, and she was inside the car. I was standing outside the car, and that's when I was looking down at her, and that's when I noticed this motherfucker was putting a light on us.
Oh wow.
Yes, they're intelligent. And here's another thing. I don't know. I don't have no idea to think that they're aliens or anything like this. Or if I know that they go in the sky, but I know where they rest their head at night, and that's under the ground. I have them taped them. They're coming from under the ground, which is more reason to believe they're like some type of elemental, maybe even a fairy.
True. Or what if, there's been a lot of people saying that aliens have places here on Earth that they stay.
I know, but I mean, and I don't know if that would preclude it, but I mean, we're talking about a hole no bigger than a foxhole,
Yeah, but you're also talking about beings that can travel thousands and thousands of light years and can warp time and space.
Right.
What
So
means
who
they
knows?
can't do that here on Earth?
Yeah, just contract into a little,
Right,
ball
exactly.
of nothing.
Exactly. I mean, I've always said, your science tries to find planets where they think life could grow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or any of that. But what's to say life on other planets needs the same thing we do? What if they live and breathe different things
Inorganically, yeah.
right, or and that's the same thing. Maybe the properties of their bodies, their matter, what they're made of, does not.
Yeah, how would we know?
Why are we putting our own constructs of our own bodies
Exactly.
onto these other entities that we know nothing about?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, so you never know.
You really don't.
Maybe these orbs are just a window as well. Have you ever thought about that? That these orbs are some sort of energy, and they're able to watch us and interact with us, but they can be back wherever they are.
Okay, so let's watch this one.
Yeah, that is so... Wow. Fascinating. I love how nervous you get.
I know. You know, I'm not a scaredy cat. See, she's not even...
She's like, eh. That's crazy. I mean, have you ever seen the Marfa lights out at Marfa?
No, I have not been out there. And so the question is, are the Marfa lights related to the ghost lights of Ghost Light Road? And I mean, the consensus seems to be yes.
Right. Well, there's been a lot of people saying that the Marfa lights could be something about, reflection of car lights from somewhere else reflecting onto that area, that kind of thing. But the problem with that is they have records going back to the late 1800s
of the Marfa lights.
Of the Marfa lights, it's been seen in texts from the Native Americans and in their Native American culture and in their stories, and it's also been in diaries and other people coming across the West to California in the 1800s.
Have you seen the Marfa lights?
I have. I saw the Marfa. It's 2 summers ago. I went out there, and it is strange, because you see them and you're like, am I really seeing something? I can't really, because they're so far away, but they do move. You're like, oh, that's just a star, because there's so many stars out there. The sky is just filled, and then all of a sudden you notice that star's kind of moving, and they'll move around, and maybe change color. They'll go from yellow to red, and those kinds of things. So it is kind of eerie, but again, your mind doesn't want to believe that it's not anything but car lights or stars, because you don't want to think, it's hard to believe that something like that can really exist.
Now, do they have telescopes out there that you can look at it through? They have some, and then you can bring binoculars and stuff like that, but you really can't ever get, at least with my binoculars, all you see is a fuzzy orb closer. You can't
don't really
get close to it, in other words.
You can't. No, you can't. And the land is owned by someone else, so you're just
you'd be
along
trespassing if you went up there.
You're just along the highway, and
right.
I'm sure maybe a long time ago you could go out there and sneak on, but now it's so popular that people,
what I've heard is that people have tried to do that experiment. They'll stay over there, and then the other people will go over there in a truck, and they'll say, "No, you're right under it. You're right under it." And they're like, "We don't see anything." But yet the people that are back there, they still see the Marfa lights, and they see their friends. But the friends are right there, and they can't see it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's once again one of those very weird, like, paradoxes or whatever.
Right, and again, your conscious mind is telling you this. What I'm seeing.